Hello and welcome to Quays News. I'm Leo Christian.
And I'm Emma Beggan. It's 4 o'clock, here's the latest.
That mental health is seen equally to physical health.
We speak to the people trying to make a difference in Manchester's mental health services following a £90 million underinvestment.
A new law has been introduced this week as the Prime Minister tries to put an end to disposable vapes. And a 100-year-old train has pulled into Bury Transport Museum, preserving locomotive history. Hello and welcome to Quays News. Thank you for joining us today.
Our first story this afternoon. Underfunding in mental health services has been a significant problem across the country. However, significant cuts in Manchester's prevention and self-help schemes have seen patients decrease and fatalities rise. This week is Mental Health Week and I spoke to the people trying to make a difference. Manchester's mental health services have suffered a £90 million underinvestment into its prevention schemes and volunteer-led services. Mental health services in Manchester are among some of the most underfunded in the entire country, despite having one of the largest populations, which means people here are less likely to receive the help that they need.
It's been a really tough battle trying to obviously coordinate services. The waiting lists are massive. We know we're firefighting constantly. When I speak with people who deliver services, mental health specialists, our nurses, GPs and so on, the services are very stretched. And obviously people are waiting longer and longer to get diagnosed, to get treatment. So we're really on an uphill battle because of the lack of resource in this area. There has been a spike in mental health issues, and obviously men's mental health is something that has been ignored in the last few years. Suicide is one of the biggest killers for men under the age of 50 across the world, and obviously within Salford it's a real problem as well.
Here in Salford, START are offering a way to express yourself, whether it be on a canvas, through their photography, woodwork, art or pottery classes, or to a person. If you need to get something off your chest, people here will listen, they will understand and they will help you with what you need.
So START works on social prescription. If you get referred by a mental health or a GP, you get 12 months of free art classes. We help by giving people a creative outlet. We help by helping them provide structure, getting them out of the house, and helping them meet new people and socialise as well.
So having positive mental health, having good mental health should underpin everybody's life. It should be a given. Life is really tough at the moment, and I think that is impacting people's well-being. So making sure that mental health services get as much investment as physical health services, and the two very much go hand in hand. I think for me it's just ensuring that mental health is seen equally to physical health, and therefore that investment needs to level up.
You're not alone in what you're experiencing. And the first step is to seek help and speak with someone. So that is my plea to anybody struggling and feeling like they're on their own. They're not. There are people who care. There is help available. You just have to avail it and take things step by step.
Leo Christian, Manchester. A 19-year-old woman has been jailed after she stabbed a woman in the head 3 times. Jessica Taylor attacked the woman in an unprovoked attack in Piccadilly Gardens last year. The teenager pleaded guilty to wounding with intent and possession of a bladed article and has been sentenced to 3 years and 5 months. Greater Manchester Police has said the attack has left the victim with physical and emotional scars.
It's illegal to own an unregistered XL bully dog. From today, anyone found in possession of this supposedly dangerous breed will face prosecution and a criminal record.
And today is Time to Talk Day. Mental health charity Mind are encouraging people to have conversations with their family, friends or colleagues about their mental health. Manchester Mind and Mind in Salford will be out in Media City today until around 6 p.m, hosting events and talks to mark the day.
Manchester's Piccadilly Gardens is due a new look after Manchester City Council proposed to restore it to its former glory last year. Our reporter Jessica Ray has more.
Plans for a £25 million redevelopment of Piccadilly Gardens was announced last year by Manchester City Council. It aimed to create a more open and flexible space that is accessible to all. Opened nearly 170 years ago, Piccadilly Gardens is one of the only green spaces that is within the city centre. Work has begun to remove the canopy that connects the two sides of the pavilion in order to create that more open space. Korean hot dog restaurant Bunsik and Blank Street Coffee are also due to be refurbished. The restoration will include an art installation made of metal, glass and LED lighting, but we won't see that for a couple of months. Piccadilly Gardens has gained a reputation of antisocial behaviour and high crime rates, but Greater Manchester Police said in a letter of support that they fully support the proposal to remove the roof and invest further in making Piccadilly Gardens a high quality place for everybody. Work isn't due to finish till summer.
Now, a 100-year-old train has pulled in to Bury Transport Museum this week, attracting crowds from far and wide. So we sent our reporter Samantha Tromans to find out more.
Vesta is a 108-year-old locomotive which spent much of its working life in Shotton Steelworks. Since it was decommissioned, the train has been on quite a journey around the UK.
Well, Vesta used to be owned by the Industrial Locomotive Society and was preserved in the 1960s and was then gifted to the National Trust. Now initially the locos, it's more than one loco that was gifted. They went to Shugborough Hall in Staffordshire. When they decided they needed the room at the stables, it was then moved to Penryn Castle in North Wales, and that's where it's been ever since the mid-60s.
The Vesta arrived here just last Wednesday, and in 3 years' time, ownership of the steam locomotive will eventually be gifted to Bury Transport Museum. This rather large locomotive sits snugly alongside a much smaller counterpart from Bolton.
Wren's a lovely, delightful little locomotive. It's small, it's narrow gauge, it's an 18-inch gauge locomotive, and it spent its working life at Horwich Works. It actually took everything round the works on this 18-inch gauge system.
This distinctive train with its black livery and red lining is set to be joined by some new locomotives in the summer.
A new law has been set in place this week by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak as cases of children vaping spike across the nation. Our reporter Sarah Saunders brings us the latest.
Disposable vapes are to be banned in the UK as part of a drive to protect children's health as Prime Minister Rishi Sunak takes action to attempt to make sure vape products do not appeal to children.
This new law to protect children's health will make it illegal to sell tobacco products to anyone born on or after the 1st of January as the Prime Minister plans to tackle a rise in youth vaping. Rishi Sunak hopes to implement the new plan at the end of 2024 or the start of 2025.
Only negative is the people who are trying to stop smoking. Apart from them, it's necessary because I get so many kids coming from the schools here trying to get the vape off me. But yeah, it is necessary though.
Like I said, I'd rather the government just sort its country out. I can stop my kids from vaping. That's not a government's job.
In 2023, 20.5% of children had tried vaping. This is up from 15.8% in 2022 and 13.9% in 2020 before the first COVID lockdown. This raises concerns about the impact on brain health and potential for addiction.
It's good for children because I think loads of people who are getting their hands on them shouldn't be getting their hands on them, I guess. I think they're putting them in different packaging, aren't they? So that'll be good if they stop branding it as like looking like kids things, if you get what I mean.
In the last 3 years, the number of children vaping has tripled, and there is strong evidence to suggest that cheap and easy to use disposables are partly to blame.
I think it's a very good thing that they're being banned, basically, even though I do use single-use disposable vapes.
We know what the dangers of smoking are. I do sometimes feel like we are yet to find out what the dangers of vaping are. So I think it is a good stance, but I think Rishi Sunak is a massive hypocrite for saying that he cares about people's health and banning a vape. If that would do it, I think he could just raise the standard of living.
We all know the dangers of smoking. The question that still remains is, will vaping follow in its footsteps? Sarah Saunders reporting
Well,
for
we
Quays
thought the
News,
weather was
Salford.
getting a little bit better following rough weather recently in some places of the northwest. But as the winds begin to tame, the rain doesn't do so much. What have you got for us, Daniel?
Well, you'll have to brace yourselves just a little longer after Storm Aisha hit recently, bringing widespread winds and heavy rain. This was the biggest UK storm since 2022 when Storm Eunice hit. The weather is starting to look up, however, as the wet weather is scheduled to come in varied waves over the next week. It looks clear today, at least as temperatures are concerned, ranging from 7 during the day to a little warmer overnight. Friday will see temperatures in the 10s with light rain throughout the day in certain areas of the Greater Manchester area. The weekend is set to begin fairly right, as on Saturday morning the weather looks clear of showers, enough to go on a walk and catch your breath. But remember to wrap up warm as temperatures project around 9 to 10 degrees in the morning. Saturday afternoon, not so much luck, I'm afraid. We're set to see a sweep of rain passing through until Sunday afternoon, with the rain being the strongest at around 9 p.m. on Saturday night. Into Sunday afternoon, however, and the weather does seem to pick up despite it being a little too late. Similar to temperatures in those in the week, between 7 and 10 degrees. But how do we look next week? Temperatures stay the same, with rain almost not in sight on the Monday. Hopefully a sign for the rest of the week. That was your Quays News Weather Report.
Now, Manchester has been voted the second most fashionable city in the UK, which may not come as a surprise to some Mancunians.
Our reporter Ellie Watt went into the city to find out what the people of Manchester think about this.
When you think of cities known for their fashionable reputation and effortless style, places like New York, Paris and Milan come to mind. But new research from Windsor's and luxury brand Fairfox & Favour found Manchester to be the second most fashionable city in the UK beyond the capital. So welcome to Manchester, where rain may fall, but fashion reigns supreme. So what brings you to Northern Quarter today?
So I'm a fashion student at the University of Salford, and we come out to take some photos of my garment from the end of last term.
I must say you look brilliant.
Thank you.
Do you wear this on the regular?
Only on nights out.
What do you think of Manchester fashion scene?
So I've lived in Manchester for my entire life. I grew up on sort of loads of different fashion, from skate influence now to streetwear, and I think it's definitely growing. It's definitely being a part of a hub where it can influence the rest of the UK. You've got brands like Clint's that have come out of Manchester that are now a very big scene, or very big in the scene.
Where is your favourite sort of independent brand or shop in Manchester?
So my absolute favourite shop at the moment is Susan's Milo. They had 2 locations up until this year, and they closed one of them and have opened up a store in Northern Quarter in Stephenson Square. They have brands such as Avisu, Palace, they have CP, all great fashion brands for a good price.
I think they've got a lot of variety, lots of thrift shops at the minute, which is relatively new.
I find it pretty unique. Everyone's got their own fashion sense.
I like the thrift shops. I think the thrift shops are quite good. You can spend hours there and you find something nice if you have a proper look.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. You see a lot of people with different styles. I feel like there's a lot of streetwear at the moment.
Yeah.
And what did you say?
Yeah. Well, we're actually in Liverpool, and I was saying beforehand, oh, what should we wear?
Manchester was rated the second most fashionable city next to London. Do you think that's appropriate?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think that has to be true, because recently they held, now who was it that came, the designer? And
The Chanel.
The Chanel,
Yeah.
that's right. So that was a real privilege for Manchester, wasn't it?
It was. What do you think of the Manchester fashion scene?
Well, I think it's a very unjudgmental place, and everyone just they just wear what they like.
Fashion in Manchester. You know, to be fair, I see a couple drippy guys, their style's really nice in Manchester, to be fair. I see a lot of designer, people putting it on.
Drippy guys.
Yeah, man, the drip is talent.
Thanks, Ellie. That's all we have time for today, but make sure you keep in the heart of our action by following us on all social media platforms at Quays News.
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.